Alrighty, it's Anarchist Programmer at OmniManga.org again. I'm gonna finish up our basic series this time around. We're gonna learn about a few little types of storage other than variables, and we'll start out with the string. As you can tell, variables will only store numbers, so in the case that you want to store text in any way, shape, or form, first, you need to type in the text that you want to be stored. Once again, because I'm lazy, I'm just going to put in hi. Now, you can store that to a string, which will be found in vars and then string. There's 10 strings, 0 through 9, and you can pick any of them. So now, string 1 will be hi. Make sure you have a quote to start it off with, and once again with TI Basic, a lot of the time you won't need an end quote, and in one case is while using the store symbol, and so you could have done wow could have done that, and it's the exact same thing as not having the quote. Um, Strings are used if you want people to be able to type in information such as their name or the likes, and it will be used later on for more advanced stuff. For right now, you don't have to worry about it. You can use the string in a display or output just like a variable, and it works the exact same way. You can test it out in your own. The next thing that we need to cover is lists. At second stat, we'll bring up lists where it has any ones that you've, L1 through 6, and any ones you made. In my case, I have a P and an RPG. Those are for an entirely different game I've made. I'll have a movie over that later on, but not important. In the ops, there's this little L that's used to classify something as a list if you want to. For example, L, and then we'll name this list A, and that is basically how you would call on list A if it existed. A list is basically nothing but a series of numbers separated by commas. I use them a lot for storing character information in RPGs, and it can be used for a whole lot of other stuff. To make a list from scratch, you'd hit second and the parentheses, which brings up this brace. Then you'd hit, like, for example, the first number we'll say is 10, comma, the second number 48, and just other random numbers. Lists can go about as long as you want, but really only make it as long as you need, because lists do take up space. From there you can store, or you can end the brace, then store, whichever you prefer, and you can make it go to one of the pre-made lists, which don't require the little L. A list you've already made, which will add the little L in for you, or if you want to make a new one, put the little L in there yourself in A. And now that list is there. Also, after you've made the list for the first time, it will appear down here. You can store information to lists and into strings in programs exactly like you do outside. It's just outside it's a lot faster for me to show you. So other than that, I will go more in detail on things like the drawing commands, where you can draw on the graph screen, which is once again more complicated, and we won't be needing it for any of our first games we're making. After this, we have more than enough information to make pretty much most games that we'd ever need. I can't think of any off the top of my head that go beyond TI Basics standards that you couldn't do from this point. For a while, let's see. Yes. Okay, I am mistaken. There's one last useful function, and that's menu. Menu is basically, it creates a menu that that someone can use to go to different parts of your program, or just in general select options, and then from there, based on their option, you can do something. For this menu, it starts out with quote, and you will have the name of the menu. I'm being lazy, so the name of our menu is going to be menu, and you do have to end quote in the menus. Afterwards, you comma, and now you pick whatever you want for option 1. Once again, I'm going to be lazy and type in option 1, and now you comma, and this is where you put in the label that you want option 1 to go to. In this case, I want it to go to label 1, and I'll just do one more, option 2, once again in quote, and we'll go to label 2. This is entirely up to you. From here, we'll have label 1. Once again, for simplicity's sake, it will do nothing but display, let's see, for our purposes, so then we'll display option 1 if you picked option 1, and then it will go to 0. And label 2 will display, simply enough, option 2, and it could also go to 0, but to save space, I'm not going to add it here, just because right after this I'm going to have label 0, which will have nothing there because that will indicate it to end the program. The reason that label 0 is there is because otherwise, if I hit option 1, it'll go to option 2, then it'll display option. It'll display option 1, then it'll display option 2 because there's nothing stopping it from going past this label, and then it will end the program. In this case, now it will skip label 2. And from here, we can test out the program, which is right here. Now see, we have our menu with option 1 and option 2. Option 1 ends it, and option 2 will display that. In this case, I did forget the clear home, but since I'm not totally making anything, it's not a huge ordeal. Alright. Well, that covers about all the basics. You know about every type of variable that you can use to store information, and you know about all the functions that matter for game making as far as it, as far as it matters. For my next tutorials, I'm actually going to start teaching you how to make games. We'll start with the simple games and work our way up. It'll probably be best if you go in order, and I will have a little number by them just so you know which is the order. And that way, just in case I miss something out, I'll be explaining it during those videos. Well, all I have left to say, I guess, is